Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Sandwich Making with Skedelfond. Now, this episode is filmed differently because it is filmed over the course of a week, as I have made every ingredient of this sandwich from scratch. To get started with our sandwich, we're going to start with the pickles. And to begin our pickles, we're going to start with the pickling spice. Now this will take peppercorns, yellow mustard seeds, coriander seeds, allspice berries, red pepper flakes, crushed up bay leaves. You're also going to need a lot of dill seed and some whole cloves. Now, we're going to move on to cutting up the cucumbers. Now these are some slicing cucumbers that I have, and we're going to cut these into spears by first chopping off the ends, and then measuring up the pickles, soon to be, against our jar for size. Now, we're going to cut these to size and cut them into quarters. Once you have cut these into rudimentary quarters, you're going to want to line them up as such and continue with all of the other cucumbers. And here is what we have. Now, you're going to start by putting pickling spice into the jars, as well as a clove of garlic, and then we're going to start packing our jars with pickles. Now, I realized that my pickles were too long, so I had to cut off the ends. Now, packing them works quite well, and we move on to the pickling brine. You're going to combine 1 part water with salt to 1 part cider vinegar. And you're going to bring this to a boil over some time, and then, once it is boiling, you're going to take it carefully and pour it into the jar. Now, I did not use a funnel, so some mistakes were definitely made. Now, once you have your brine in your jars, you let them cool to room temperature and store them in the fridge for about a week. Now, for the pastrami. We're going to start by putting a lot of salt into our container, as well as special curing salt. It's supposed to be pink, but I could not find that at the grocery store. The pink helps give the pastrami its color. Now we need crushed bay leaves, as well as coriander seeds. And then we need yellow mustard seeds, allspice berries, a stick of cinnamon, black peppercorns, some whole cloves, arbol chilies, and lots of brown sugar, some garlic, and we will now add water. I live in a place where water is clean, so I did not need to boil all of it, but you want to fill the container and mix it thoroughly. Now, we are going to place our meat in the brine. Now you want to lightly put this in, make sure it is completely covered, and then weigh it down with a plate. This will be covered, and it will be put in the fridge for about 5 days. Now, we take it out, open it up, we take the plate off, and the meat, if you take it out here, will look gray in color, but that is normal. Do not worry, your meat is still alright. I'm going to take this meat over to the sink and rinse it and put it in a pot full of water. Now, this pot of water is going to be taken, covered, and taken away to the stove to be boiled. While this is boiling for some time, we're going to crush up peppercorns as well as coriander seeds in a mortar and pestle. You should use a spice grinder, but I did not have one of those available. pour the mixture into a bowl, and to this add sweet paprika, as well as garlic powder, onion powder, yellow mustard powder, and sugar. Now mix these all together until you have an even rub. Take your boiled brisket, which is corned beef at this point, and you want to take your rub and thoroughly cover the meat. Now I'm just going to get the top here, and then in a moment flipping it to the back side and beginning to rub the bottom of the meat. This will be taken outside and smoked. Now that it is smoked, we're going to slice into it, and I quickly realize here that I have both the wrong knife and the wrong cutting surface for slicing meat, unfortunately. So we're going to transfer this and finish up the cutting and get some thin slices and place them in a container for later use. Now the cheese. Now the cheese I'm going for here is mozzarella, and mozzarella does not need time to age. And you start by bringing milk and citric acid to a high temperature, moving it off the burner, and then mixing in a solution of rennet. Now, once you pour this in, you must stir in a figure-8 formation for 30 seconds. And then you let sit covered for long enough for the curds to separate. Now we're going to take the lid off and cut the curds. Now we're going to cut them in sort of a grid formation, as you can see here. And then we're going to lightly stir our curds. Now we are putting them in a strainer to drain out the majority of the whey from the curds. Now you want to do this thoroughly and press it with a spoon. And once it is drained to a point, you're going to take the curds out and pour the whey back into the main pot, and then put the strainer on top. And it is not recorded here, but I then take the curds, heat them, and then knead them until they are a more cohesive cheese. Now, after 4 homemade ingredients, a week of time, and many dollars spent, I now have a variety of different ingredients to use right here. These are the ingredients for our sandwich, and you're looking at the bread right now, thinking, what is this? And I made it with some homemade sourdough starter and some instant yeast to make it go quick, and it's not recorded. And with the sandwich, we're going to have lettuce and mayonnaise. I tried to make myself, but here I will be using the store-bought variety, as well as Dijon mustard. And now for the sandwich assembly. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the homemade sandwich. And this sandwich, I must tell you, tastes quite good. The pickles could use more dill, and the cheese came out more of a ricotta than a mozzarella, but overall, I would give this sandwich a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you for watching, and catch the next episode. Goodbye.